Chapter 42. Hanover Square, Mayfair, London, UK. "What's going on with unsolved crime at the moment?" asked Sam, as she settled into the seat next to Marilyn, handing her a cup of tea. They'd arrived early and were waiting for the others to start briefing. Anton was setting up plates of biscuits, the gang's food of choice when asked to sit still and behave like grown-ups for an hour or so. "I keep seeing historical cases being solved, some from decades ago." "Oh, I know," chimed Anton. "It's a thing. Everyone's twittering about it. Very exciting. I bet all the bad boys and girls who thought they'd gotten away with murder are getting a little nervous." "Well, they're not boys and girls anymore. They're granddads and grandmas," grinned Sam. "I saw one this morning where the clothing of a victim had been found and handed in 50 years after the event. Her DNA and that of the murderer was still intact after 50 years. He's been arrested. Case closed. Brilliant." Marilyn wasn't paying attention. She stared absent-mindedly into her cup of tea. "Don't you think?" Sam asked her. Marilyn didn't move. "Marilyn?" Sam nudged her. "What?" Marilyn looked up and scanned the room. Had the meeting started? "What?" "Are you all right, hun?" Sam and Anton stared at her. She wasn't her normal, bubbly self. "Yeah," she shrugged. "Why?" "Nothing. You just seem distant today." The lift doors burst open and the rest of the gang arrived. Marilyn spotted Elvis at the coffee machine, jumped up and scooted over to see him. "Any news on the Miss Newton thing?" she asked, as the others gathered around the table. Elvis shook his head. "The number is not on any of the databases I've tried, which means that it's protected by some secret squirrel shit." He plopped 2 sweeteners into his coffee. "And Miss Newton is who she says she is. She's worked within a few governmental agencies. She had a good record, but left suddenly under a cloud. Haven't found out why yet. She was given papers, had a bit of garden leave, and then retired, probably before being sacked. Newton is an alias, probably some sort of protection thing." Marilyn stared at him. "Are you sure? She seems such a sweet little old lady, the least likely to need protecting." "Yeah," nodded Elvis, watching Moira sit at the head of the table. "What did she do?" asked Marilyn, following his gaze. "I'm still digging. Is she going to do anything about her dog?" "We've met a few times. She has linked up with a few old contacts and is waiting for some intel to come back, but nothing as yet. She has cameras. They've been checked, but nothing was found. She won't let it go. She's out for blood. The thing is, she knows what I do. She knows about this unit." "What?" snapped Elvis, shocked. "No one knows about us." "What are you two up to?" shouted Naylam, taking the seat beside Moira. "We're about to start." "Nothing, boss. Just your birthday drinks," smiled Marilyn, her foot pressing hard on Elvis's. "Biscuits, anyone?" A resounding yes came from the room. Marilyn grabbed the biscuit box and joined the others as they went through the morning's briefing. At the end of the meeting, Naylam leaned back in his chair and looked directly at Marilyn and Elvis. "And lastly," he scowled, "what's going on with you two? I've had my birthday this year, so don't give me that bollocks." He turned to the weaker of the two. "Elvis, speak to me." "She's getting threatening messages from an unknown suspect. She lives above a disgraced ex-governmental employee, an old lady called Miss Newton, whose dog was killed and hung in her garden. The suspect seemingly knows that Marilyn won't report to police." Marilyn placed her elbows on the table and held her head in her hands. The gang glared at her. "And you didn't let us know why?" Moira asked. "I didn't want to bother you. We have so much on," mumbled Marilyn through splayed fingers. "I'm not sure what it's about yet. It could be anything. An ex-boyfriend, a weird neighbour, anything." "What the fuck, Marilyn?" blurted Sam. "Protecting folk is what we do. Why the hell wouldn't you let us protect you? Jeez, we could be nothing. Just some idiot getting his rocks off playing the big I am. If I went in all guns blazing with you lot, it might bring attention to us and cause more trouble than necessary. She looked around the table. What we do is illegal. If we get caught, we lose our jobs, our freedom, maybe our lives. Prison is not a good place for coppers. I didn't want to be responsible for fucking up your lives. I was going to bring you into the picture if it got out of hand. At the moment, it's a pesky stalker. A pesky stalker who killed a dog, reminded Moira. It's only a small step to move on to killing humans. Yeah, well, he or she has now threatened to kill my neighbour. Anton let out a nervous squeak and put a hand to his mouth. Oh, Marilyn, he sighed, hand fanning his face. The gang stared at her, angry that she had kept the problem to herself. Jimmy felt bad for her and spoke up. She did report it, sir, to us. Elvis and I are looking into it with her. If it becomes of interest to the unit, we'll report further. I want an update on all intel you source, Naylam growled, stony-faced. I want cameras installed around the premises, trackers on both their phones, and, if needed, move them to a safe house. Jimmy and Elvis nodded. Yes, boss. And Marilyn, he barked, turning to her and standing up unexpectedly, causing chair legs to screech on flooring and the gang to jump. Yes, boss, Marilyn winced. Outside, now. He walked to the lift. We're going for a walk. I want a word. Yes, boss.